Hey everyone, I'm Trixie, aka The Thoughtful Beast. Welcome to my live show. Today I have my old director, Spencer Powell here from Visionary Dance Theater. He's going to talk about his company, Visionary Dance Theater, today. But before we get down to that, Spencer, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Well, my name is Spencer John Powell, like you just mentioned, and I'm the artistic director of Visionary Dance Theater, and as well as the artistic director of Kids Dance Company, which is hosted by Visionary Dance Theater. Our Visionary studios are located in La Mesa, downtown La Mesa, California. We perform all over the county, as well as do our own formal concerts with both companies. We also offer training in our studio for our KDK, which is Kids Dance Company's school, and where we train all of our KDK dancers. We are from Utah. We hail from Utah and moved here about 15 years ago. And started Visionary 10 years ago. KDK, Kids Dance Company, is actually 26 years old this coming September. So that's what we do here. And
Yay! Sorry, I kept pressing the wrong thing, and I was like, I can't come back. Okay, so like Spencer just said, he is artistic director of Visionary Dance Theater. Visionary Dance Theater, the company. This is your 10th season, correct?
Yes, it's almost over.
It's almost over.
Yes.
What a way to end.
Yeah.
Just because of the times. Definitely a different way to end, and that I'm sure most people didn't realize their season was going to be like this, which is really harsh.
Yeah.
And really difficult. But knowing you, I mean, you guys are always fine. I remember, no matter what happened, you said this so many times, and I thought it was good. You'd just be like, Visionaries, we're going to be here. We're not going anywhere, so it's fine. It's fine. We're not going anywhere. Which is a really good attitude. I feel like you're just very independent, which I really like and also take after. I feel like, making your own opportunities is really important. And that's definitely been you. So why don't you tell us, why did you start Visionary Dance Theater?
Well, I never anticipated ever having a dance company. I've always been an independent choreographer. I started at 19 is when I fell in love with choreography, thanks to one of my dance professors who's still a part of my life to this day, Jean Travers. You know her very well. She saw something in a choreography class in me and inspired me to continue on that path. I actually, when I got to high school, I discovered drama. And so I thought I'd go to college and get my bachelor's in theater and just minor in dance. But then I met Jean, and so here I am, still in the dance world, doing my thing. So I've always been independent. And at that time, I was young, very young. And so when you're a young choreographer, the older choreographers and the older establishment usually push you back and say, no, you need more experience, you need more of this, you need more of that. But I was always determined to forge my own path and ignore that. I just ignored it and did my own thing. And then when we moved here from my husband's job. So that's what brought us to San Diego. And I thought I tried to get work. I applied everywhere. No one would hire me. So I finally went to the Kroc Center. I saw that they had a youth theater program. So I jumped in there and I started to volunteer. And she liked my work, the artistic director, and so she hired me then. About 3 years into working there, I decided I could do this by myself. So that's what I did. And forgo all of that political stuff that a big organization like the Kroc Center, that's where I was employed, had to dish out. So I didn't want that a part of my existence. So so I said, let's just do this by myself. I never took a business class, I didn't know anything about business, finance, anything. I just went and wanted to create work. So here we are. 10 years later, still fumbling and stumbling, but we're still present. And I'm still fiercely independent. We talk about community all the time. The dance community. I've never felt a part of that community, specifically here in San Diego. So I thought, well, I'll create my own with like-minded people. And Visionary is a place where we encourage leadership. We encourage the young people to take charge and ownership, not only of their work, but of the organization that they're a part of, as well as their own career paths, be that performing arts or something else. I'm a firm believer in great leaders create other leaders, not followers. And so that's what we're all about. And I think that Visionary and our little Visionary community or family there are nothing but leaders. They're always forging ahead, taking charge of not only their training, but their content, what they put on the stage and so forth.
Yeah, I could definitely attest to that for dancing with you. I think 5 or 6 years, right?
6 years. You were here for 6 years. Yes.
I was here for 6 years. And it was so, I mean, again, I can attest to everything that Spencer says, because even he would always just be like, to us dancers, he's like, do you guys want to choreograph? Do you want to, like, what do you want to do? Like, do you want to put on your own show? You're always just like, what about you put on your own show? It was just really funny. But it was really cool because, you know, the arts is really hard. Like, and it's really hard. And when there's very little funding and only so many people can get it, pay is difficult. Like, pay is difficult. And you always, like, I just saw this the other day because I have a picture of you holding my first check from you. I just wanted to tell you that because I went through a photo album and I showed Drew. I have a picture of like my first paycheck from you. And you know, it's just really hard. Like the payment's really hard. And you were always very like, well, there's only so much money I can give you. I'm going to give you a bunch of different opportunities. Which I always really like appreciate. A lot of us appreciated it. And like, you know, we understood like there's only, you know, there's only so much you can get. Like even like the big companies here, there's only so much they get too, like with their dancers and everything. It's just really unfortunate. And I remember when you had the kids, KDK, when you started having them choreograph their own dances. I can't remember that little kid's name, the little boy. He was so small. He just did not grow his time there with you.
I think Louis, little Louis.
Louis, yes. Like it was a little Louis. Oh my gosh, he was so cute. But like that's the thing. Like you always, you know, you're like, oh, okay, well, everyone can choreograph. Like we're gonna give a hand. Like, okay, kids, like let's go. And you always like gave them their opportunities too, which is really cool. And you know, like, and I've experienced that too, like what you were saying, where when you're a young choreographer, people are just like, well, you need more experience. Like you need to get better. You need to be like, I've been doing this for so many years. Like, but what about you? Like, and I remember you got mad and you're like, stop calling yourself a merging artist. Like you're artist. And like, stop saying pre-professional. You are professional. And I mean, it's true though, you know, like looking back at it and like being older, I'm just like, oh, it's true. Like that mindset's really important. And that weird hierarchy of like, oh, like, who are you? You're just so young and like, is really not helpful. It's not helpful. And it doesn't help actually make new choreographers who can actually go forth and make a career out of choreography. If you're pushing everyone back until like, just because they're younger, it's just like, shouldn't you just look at the work? Isn't that what matters? No. Yeah. Okay.
And that's the thing that's exciting about Visionary, I think, is that it's about the young people. They're the ones that create change, effective change and positive change. And they're the ones that also have the innovation and the creativity bottled up inside of them. Uh, you know, and so we actually packaged that, what you just described. We packaged that when we went to Vietnam last year. We had to be kind of unique and have something to teach there that was uniquely visionary. And so when I was asked to join the faculty there to teach, we decided to call what you just described collective choreography. And so that's what we taught there. We were going back this April, but of course this nice pandemic happened, and not so nice, but it derailed us from going back and doing our collective choreography there again. Hopefully next year we'll be there. However, and we decided now when we came back from Vietnam to incorporate that thoroughly into our organization. You do not come into my doors without having a creative mind and putting some stuff on stage. So we do things like with the children, we do like tag, okay? You have 2 sets of 8. You have 2 sets of 8. When this person has 2 sets of 8, and then we'll have a group of dancers, 3 or 4 dancers, and each person takes a turn as they're tagged to set that choreography. In fact, KDK, who have won many awards in the past 26 years, but mostly in the past decade, have choreographed more than half of all of their shows. More than half, you know. And KDK is a social activism kind of children's group. So we tackle topics such as racism. Our last show, we tackled the family separation at the border. And I find that these children have such great insight and such, they're not fogged down by any preconceptions of what making movement is. And so so they just come out all free and wonderful and set this beautiful work, just beautiful. And of course, we supervise them and we make sure that they're using safety measures and things because they want to pick each other up and throw each other across the room and stuff. So we make sure that we're there. And we just started last year. We started having the children choreograph on the adults. And we had our movement makers last fall. We had one entry that was a child who's a KDK dancer who set a work. You know her, Lindia.
Yeah. She's old now.
She's 13.
Oh, God.
Yeah. And I can't tell you how amazing this child is in her choreography. Just amazing. She said her first duet on 2 of our dancers, James LaRosse and Kaylee Hernandez. Mm-hmm. And they were just dumbfounded by what this child had to offer. It was a special moment. And now she hasn't stopped creating work at all. So right now she's doing a big, huge dress dance with these huge dresses, you know, hoop skirts that we have no room for in the studio, but they're there. She's just wonderful. So I just love watching the kids develop and grow. You know, there's a saying from a musical, Hello, Dolly. You know Hello, Dolly? Mm-hmm. And Dolly Levi, she comes out towards the end of the show and she says, you know, money's like manure. You have to spread it out, encouraging young things to grow. You know, I've always taken that to heart, that, and it's not just about money, it's about your knowledge, it's about your skill sets, and the reasons why you gather these things is to leave that legacy and to spread it out to the young kids and watch them grow and develop and not only change the world of dance, but change the world as a whole. And that's kind of our philosophy here, is just to promote and encourage young people. We're in a very exceptional time, as you know. Mm-hmm. I have always had some barriers because of my race. You know, I've been told that I would never be a ballet dancer because of certain attributes of being African American would prevent me from becoming a professional ballet dancer. That's what I kind of wanted to do. and that was crushed at a very young age, and and Western dance technique just pushed upon us, and all other dance techniques put on the side burner. And so I wanted to change that and focus in on other dance forms around the world, and be a home for those kids of color. We have a lot of kids of color with a lot of talent and a lot of intellect. And I wanted a home for them to be able to do what they do, because there is not a home. There are people of color on these stages, however, they're in the minority. And yet I see tons of kids of color trying to get in the doors, you know?
Yeah.
And it's very difficult. So we want to be that bastion of hope for these young people. And in fact, all of my years through, 30 years, over 30 years of being a dance educator, I was never allowed to have a key to a studio that I worked in, even studios in which I had an office. And in fact, at Kroc Center, the custodian would meet me every day to let me in. He finally got a clue and just would be there with the key and let me in. And so after leaving the Kroc and starting Visionary, I decided that no child would not have a key to this studio. Everyone has a key to the studio. I never took a key from a past dancer. Every dancer who's left our studio still owns that key and still comes in and uses our studio. Because that's what I believe is, as a person of color, as a Black man specifically, is to have that open door for our young people to develop, and not just in dance and not just in theater, but because our kids grow, you've seen them, and go into all kinds of professions, not just dance. But I believe that this studio and dance led them to those choices and those careers that they've embraced. I'm so proud of them. And we're just, and I'm always getting told, oh, aren't you afraid they're going to steal something? And I tell them, no, most people don't steal. Most people don't steal. Most of us aren't out trying to take something from somebody else. We, and no one stole anything. No one stole a dang thing from us yet. And that is the reason why you have a key. You still have your key, I believe. Mm-hmm. And many other dancers still have the key. And I tell them, whenever you want to use the studio, you just call me up. And if it's not in use, you go right ahead and use it. And so and I think it's just because of me being an African American, I'm already pegged as being somebody that might steal something, like a ballet bar. Yeah. Because there's not much to take in a dance studio. But so that's kind of the one thing that I'm very proud of. It seems silly to talk about keys, but I think right when you hand a 16-year-old or a 22-year-old a key to your business and you say, this is your home, and to see that light up in their eyes is just amazing. And to see that they can still have a venue, a place where they can work, even when they're not here, because we want our young people to go out into the world, but sometimes they're going to need this space to help them to create, to hold meetings, to do whatever they need to do. And they are always free to do that. So.
I do that.
Yeah.
I do that. Because it's true. I was with you guys for a really long time. And then when I decided it was my time to leave and it was my time to focus on me and what I wanted to do and what my next step was, it's not all of a sudden I have money now.
Yeah.
Renting space is expensive.
It
adds up. It adds up so quickly, and it's so ridiculous because being a dancer is just expensive. If you're not in a company and if you're not in a company or if you don't have work study, $15 a class, for an hour and a half, every day. And that's, that's not even ballet prices. Ballet prices are usually $22 a class, I think, right? Yeah. They're around $22 a class, or at least here. And that to be a dancer and then have to pay for your training, and then if you want to create stuff, having to like pay if you want an actual studio, like it's so expensive. It's so ridiculously expensive.
Yeah.
Like,
And we allow our young adult dancers to hold private lessons. Even we don't charge them rent. We just say, come on, and they keep their full pay. However, I don't get involved in how much they pay their charge their students, but they're allowed to come in and utilize that studio all they want. Yeah.
Yeah, and like what you do is great, and it's true. Like that's like you're a company. You have a big like children's company too, and like it's actually like it's an actual diverse company. And it's not like, oh, all the Black kids are in the back.
No,
because that happens. Oh my gosh, I saw several videos today on Instagram, just like going through, and like that's what it was. It's just like literally like the Black dancers in the back, and it's like weird because I feel like if you don't pay attention to that, you don't see it, even though it's obvious. Or I feel like a lot of people are like, oh yeah, we knew this, but we're just like not really gonna we're not gonna like be cognitive about it and actually hold this thought in our head. Yeah. It's just like, oh, that sucks. They always put Black dancers in the back and then just like turn away from it.
Oh yeah, I lived that. I lived the back row, always hidden. Unless, I mean, I did a lot of musical theater. I would get cast because I could dance, not because I could sing. You've heard me sing. But I've gotten cast in many a musical because I could dance. I remember being the Pirates of Penzance, and literally everyone else had a pirate costume, but I had a Sambo costume. Literally, I have the pictures. And, I was in Oklahoma one time and I was told that I couldn't do The Farmer and the Cowman Could Be Friends. It's a number in that show. I couldn't be in there because I didn't have a Black person to dance with. I went and found me one. And she joined the cast, and later on we went to the prom.
oh yeah, I saw that picture. Yes.
Yeah. So I've lived through those kinds of things, so I understand, and I see some of our young people that come to our studios, and I see them in other performances, and I see them put in the back. And of course that affects their esteem and their performance on the stage. And I'm thinking, they had a solo in our show. Why aren't they at least doing something more than this? Yeah. It's heartbreaking, but there are people like you and myself and others that are there trying to reach out, but it's not enough. It's not enough at all.
It's not. And the thing that's like so hard too is because there aren't a lot of places like Visionary. Like there are places, but there aren't a lot because like dance is an elitist thing. It takes money. It takes a lot of money. So much money. Like
so much money. And a lot of our tax dollars goes to funding a lot of these nonprofit organizations. And you've probably been the ear to my pet peeve many a time about how I get taxed, and and being a nonprofit organization can't even get funds. I can't even get them a funding at all. 10 years we have been applying for funding, and no one gives us funding. And some organizations will tell you, give an explanation. We always ask, why didn't we? Some will respond, some will not. We've had a response that we weren't diverse enough, which shocks me because it's like, okay, I don't know what you mean. And then we didn't do enough outreach. Then we would do outreach. We've done this outreach, and we would work our tails off, the whole company, and not get paid a penny. And then they would bring my contemporaries to those same schools and pay them. And these contemporaries would have all the funding. They get all the money over and over and over and over again. My tax dollars, your tax dollars. And the people, an organization that enlists a bunch of people of diverse backgrounds can't seem to get any funding. It's heartbreaking sometimes, but also it makes us step up to the challenge. Visionary is self-reliant, you know that.
Yes.
We can put on a show for $500, and we have, and nobody knew the difference. Oh, that's my the mailman came. Sorry. um, and we do that. We have had some of the most spectacular costumes for our children put onto the stage, all recycled. I tell our costume designers, I hire a costume designer, I say, we ain't got no money. You have $50. I want to see magic. And because we're a social conscious group, we want to recycle. We don't want to buy new, well, we can't buy new material. So we just, we go to the thrift stores, parents donate old clothes, and we have Debbie, Debbie,
Yeah.
Solend, Jody, who's dancing with the company right now, Natalia, Natalie, not Natalia, Natalie, who've done costumes with us and have worked miracles. You've seen them pull what they did with garbage bags.
Yeah.
For one of our productions. So it is, it makes us step up to the plate and be financially responsible. And I tell the young people, well, we can't afford that. Now, how can you come up with a way for us to do this that it's spectacular, it's nice, and no one knows if we have a budget or not, you know?
Yeah.
And like I told you and many other kids, I said, we will provide, even if it comes out of our own personal finances, we will always provide the studio. We will always provide the venue for performance. Now, you provide the work, the determination, and the fun, and we'll go anywhere you want us to go. And I think that's exactly what we do here at Visionary. And I'm, with the pandemic starting, sometimes you think maybe I should retire, maybe I should do this. And then I look at all of those faces. Now I have to see them online because, we can't be in person. And I think, no, not yet, not yet. There's going to be some young person. There's some young, I'm always having an assistant artistic director. Since you left, we gave you that position for a while. Since you left, we haven't had one. We're going to announce one real soon in the next week or so. And you know this person and you're going to be very pleased with her.
Okay, I have a guess. Okay.
I think it's important to give these people this opportunity to lead, to be decision makers, that kind of stuff. And so, sometimes I even just create titles for somebody and say, what can you do with this? Make it happen. Mm-hmm. And so far, so good. So far, so good. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm going to read this because it's Nicole. I always felt included at Visionary and felt I had a home there. So that's Nicole Oga.
Oh, hi, Nicole. I love you. And I'm so great. I'm so glad. I believe she just got into graduate school. Mm-hmm. And so I was so excited. I jump up and down when I'm at home. Every time you kids succeed in something, I'm so proud of all of you. Every single one of you guys. Yes, I am. And you all do so many different things, not just the performing arts, but all this other kind of stuff that just is amazing to me. That's what you want. You want to create leaders, not just in the performing arts, but well-rounded individuals. And giving, it's important to be generous, and it's important to be kind. We have a lot of stress, and even before the pandemic, I've been talking about no stress here. We've had stress in our studio, of course, some drama happens everywhere, but how much you tolerate it and put up with it is the key. And we don't have much tolerance for that. If it's not fun, then why are we doing it? Or if you're not happy here, please move on. Please don't hold grudges. Get over it. Get over yourself. Get over me. Get over whatever. We're here for a purpose. And we're a socially conscious group. So we're always creating work on that behalf. Being a diverse group of colors and backgrounds and nationalities, we have a lot to say. We have a lot to say. and we say it often, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, we say it often. So, you know, I can't, yeah, yes. I love you, Nicole.
Adrian and Daniel are also here, just so you know.
Uh-huh. Daniel, the music, my musical theater kid.
Yes.
Oh, he moved to New York. How is he
Uh-huh.
doing?
I don't know. How you doing, Daniel? Let us know. Yeah. I mean, like, it's so you know, I feel like Visionary has done so much. And you know,
Mm-hmm.
and we danced. Like we dance. Like I know we're not like a big company, like we're not like
Mm-hmm.
one of the big companies in San Diego, but it's just like that doesn't mean anything about how much like we fucking danced. Like
Yeah.
we
Mm-hmm.
did so much. And with so many different people. And
Mm-hmm.
it's hard sometimes because you wish the community would know how much
Mm-hmm.
Visionary does,
Mm-hmm.
and has always been doing. And I don't know, like that was always like really disappointing because it's just like, dude, we work so hard.
Mm-hmm.
Like
Yeah.
we
See,
work so hard.
and it was disappointing. That's disappointing to dancers who are a part of other dance organizations. I think it's very
Mm-hmm.
hard for them. It's not very difficult for me. I really enjoy being on our little environment, and I just don't have any patience. I have no patience for any kind of drama. And as I get older, all I want to do is come home. I want to go to the studio and come home. That was the life I mapped out for myself as a young man, and it's come true. You
Yes.
know, it's come true. So I get to go to work and I get to come home with my husband and my puppy and do my yard work and move my furniture around and that kind of stuff. Just what I wanted to do.
Yeah.
And so, and then I tell them, you know, don't bring that over here. We don't care necessarily what's going on over there. We're doing this here.
Yeah.
And that's yeah, we have very little drama. And then the older I get, the nicer I get. When I first started Visionary, I was, you know, my mouth, 15 minutes late, 5 minutes late to a rehearsal, and there was no stopping the mouth. But that was our training. You know, dancers are seen and not heard. Uh, Dancers get yelled at by choreographers and artistic directors, and that is acceptable. That is the norm. So that was the only way I knew to rein in a dancer or to whatever. Uh, but as the years started going and I fall in love with these young people and seeing their faces when you've yelled at them is unacceptable. It was unacceptable. So I had to change my whole way of thinking, and I'm still working on it. Ask the dancers today, even you. You have seen the
Oh yeah.
change, the transformation.
Yeah.
uh, and because that doesn't make me feel good. Yelling at somebody doesn't make me feel good. Um, Working it out in a more humane way is something that makes me feel good. Uh, and being that kind of crack the whip, we say whoop, uh, crack the whip, just didn't work at Visionary. And just being respectful of each other's energy and time. I always tell the young people that you can't put a dollar amount on our time. Can't. Once the time is spent, it's gone and it's gone forever. You know. Uh, so you know, be careful on how we treat each other. And the most important thing is its leader and how that leader is developing and changing in that direction. So we don't yell at the studio. Oh no, there's every once in a while I go, you know. Uh, so I can't say that I eliminate it, but it's something that I'm working on a continual basis. And I am open and honest with our young people today. And I will say, that's not you. I'm not upset with you. I'm upset with me, and I just don't know how to handle it right now. Okay, you are perfect, you're beautiful, those kinds of things. So I try to do that now more than crack the whip. And
Yeah.
and I think that in the world of dance specifically, you know, I've been yelled at by directors, music directors, choreographers, musical directors, where they were right in my face. You could feel the spit coming out of their mouth, you know, because you sang a wrong note. Well, that was me all the time. So I got yelled at a lot. You know, I literally had a music director come out. We were in Joseph and the Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat. Last scene, dress rehearsal, final dress rehearsal. He comes out of somebody's off. He comes out of the orchestra pit. He has us all in a straight line on the curtain of the stage. Okay, we sing. It's the ending number of Joseph. The notes are high, and he's walking past the line, and he stops right in front of me because it's you. He's just screaming, 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 screaming. And he goes, "You don't sing. You just mouth it." Okay. So we had to start the act all over again. It's, you know, it's 10 o'clock at night. No one's happy. And I remember going out there, doing that number, mouthing it, and trying and fighting back the tears. Opening night came, I didn't mouth it. I just sang. So all of those memories come back when you see a young adult watch you and be disappointed, you know? And so it was imperative that I make a change, and I think for the better. And I encourage all leaders to do that, to, you know, it doesn't mean to be walked over. You know, don't, you know, kindness is not an excuse. It's not a sign of weakness, and it shouldn't be. But there's ways to be firm. There's ways to accomplish your end goal with an organization and a group of people without trying to be a dictator. Mm-hmm. And it's more important to make sure that everyone has ownership and everyone has a voice and can tell you what's wrong with you. And I think you've done that. Nicole has done that. If she's still there, hi, Nicole. All of you young people come to me and go, I say, okay.
Yeah. And I like, and the fact that you like said all that is like, to me, very inspiring, because I feel like a lot of people, especially when they get older, they're just like, I'm not going to change. Like, screw it. Which is really disheartening. Mm-hmm. And like what you said is like really hard, because like it is that way, you know. Oh crap, what's Twyla Tharp is like known, right, for like falling off the stage because she was yelling so hard at everyone that she like backed up and fell off, because like that's exactly what you said, like that's how it was. But you know, that does mess with people, like that messes with the dancers, that messes with the kids, you know. And the fact that you say that you're working on it like is so inspiring, because I honestly just feel like there needs to be more of that kind of mindset. A lot of people like really do, like, you know, you hear a lot of stuff, and I've been talking about it a lot, like in terms of like family, and talking about racism, you know, when you used to excuse your Lola, your grandma, because it's like, oh, they're old, whatever. But now being like, okay, no, wait, because they're alive and they're talking to people and they're saying things to people. You know, they're saying things to you that are hurtful. They're saying things to other people that's super hurtful. And like, also like, no, don't do that. So I think it's really great that like you're willing to admit that, and like also just like talk about how important that is to do, because things are changing, and it hurts so much when you're just like, you know, like talking to the people you care about, the organizations you care about, the people you work for, and being like, I know, like, I'm not saying you're a bad person. I'm just saying some of these ways that you're operating, or some of the things that you're saying, they're really hurtful. They're not right. And then for them to be like, I'm old, or whatever, I don't think it's as bad as you think it is. Or just be like, I'm not racist. I did this in the 70s. And I'm just like, it's 2020 though. And I'm telling you what you're saying is inappropriate. Yeah. And them not being able to accept that is like really has been really painful.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I've been on that side, so I know how they feel, and it's a lot has to do with how we're trained and brought up. So if you're in a dance studio, the traditional dance studio situation, at 8 years old, taking these stringent ballet classes where you cannot talk, you have to look a certain way. And you're only speak when you have been asked to speak, that kind of stuff, and where the ballet teacher is slamming the beat stick on the floor, which I still have. I still use a beat stick. However, I use it differently. But and so in your mind, this is how you've been taught, and that's the only thing. And there's no other way of. No one taught me anything else. That's how, if you're a leader in this business, you must be firm. And some of the greatest choreographers, and I won't name their names, but have been kind of tyrants in the craft and have been praised, So it's very difficult. It's a very difficult thing to chip away at. So I kind of understand a lot of ways. And I remember my parents saying, I'm too old to change now, so you get that. That's part of your learning, and you have to unlearn it. And the thing is with me is that it came home with me. It didn't stay at the studio or at the theater. It comes home. And so your whole home life is, you're bringing that energy into the house. And so I refused to allow that to happen. It was changing my character personally as well. And I don't like to be hated. I don't want people to hate me. And so it was just the best thing for me. And I did that for personal reasons, and because I love young people. I want them to have a positive experience and not a negative experience. It's a thing. It's a thing, and it's hard, and it's a daily process to work out. But I know that I don't leave that studio anymore angry at
That's
anybody.
good.
At anybody. And I try to, when I have a disagreement with somebody, I try to contact them. I always tell them I love them. There's not a dancer that comes through my studio that I don't say I love you. Ever. Ever. Yeah. And I do. I love every single one of them. The ones that came before and the ones present today. And I tell them, I love you. And even the new students come in and I'll say, I love you. And they'll look at you like, what? But then they get used to it. And everybody now at our studio, as you know, tells each other they love one another. Because that's what we do. So, yeah.
That's a really nice environment. It's good. Like, dance family, I always feel like is really important. And I've had multiple dance families because people, like with Visionary, because people went in and out, and we're like, a lot of us are still close. A lot of us still like have our own like text groups, and we talk to each other like consistently. And that's what a big part of what Visionary was for me. Like we bonded a lot.
Yeah. I call them dance generations. Every 3 or 4 years, there's a group of dancers, but that group of each generation stays connected. They stay connected. That's beautiful. I like that. I do. And then I watch. It's because of this stuff, all this technology that you kids help me with every day. Setting me up today was a chore. Watching you kids. So I'm able to. I spy on you. I think they call it stalking. But if you're an alumnus of a Visionary, I know what you're doing. And I can't tell you how proud I am, and to know that their contributions to our organization. We have this little. I better not say little girl, because she's a grown woman. But you know, you kids, I tell you children, you kids, you are kids to me. If I could have burped you, you're a child, you're a kid to me. But you know, her name's Kia. You know that Kia?
Oh
She
yeah.
came in, she was right there from at the beginning, a little short hair and stuff, and she's doing this disco riot. I am just so ecstatic. You with this thoughtful beast. I mean, just to see, and then and we wouldn't be where we are today if it wasn't for the contributions of all of you young people coming through the door, giving us your little bit of knowledge and talent. It's you people. I don't go on that stage. I'm not the one risking everything. It's you people doing that. And then to be able to stalk you and see what you're doing is just, who could ask for more? Who could ask for more, you know? I'm enjoying it. I'm enjoying it.
Oh, it's like you're a grandparent, like, or a parent who's just like off stalking their children and liking everything. I like this.
Yeah. And I even make you kids call me when you go out. I've done that. So you're going out, it's Friday night, you make sure you call me because you don't want me to worry. And then I'll call them back up and say, hey, you didn't call me, Tanya. Because, you know, I worry about you like you were my own kids, I guess. You know, I'm doing exactly what I want to do, and I'm loving it. And even this this pandemic mess we're in hasn't stopped us. We haven't mourned the closing. You know, we've had to close, we had to open, we had riots, we had looting because we're right downtown La Mesa. So that was our neighborhood. And not once did I fear that we were going to close our doors. I still don't have that fear. And we're taking this as a new opportunity. Now we're all becoming filmmakers. I have the kids with cameras, and we're actually transforming the studio. Mickey's been there working all weekend, and he'll be there all week, transforming the studio into a film studio. So that's what we're doing. Tanya Lewis is on a fundraising campaign to get some more cameras, handheld cameras, to our kids. So we have come up with our next season, our 11th season, a theme, and it's workshop. It's about learning something new, and how can we take this dance business to somewhere else, since we can't leave, or we can't meet, or we can't touch. And the work, Trixie, that's coming out of these young people is just amazing. It's amazing. You know, they're sending videos from 6 years old to 30. They're sending in this work. It's just wonderful. I can't wait for our first film to come out. I just can't wait. So it's exciting.
Beautiful. That's awesome. Like, and I'm glad you guys are doing that. And honestly, like, that's the way, you know, people have to go. There's been so much resistance, you know, against, and so many people who are just like, we're screwed. That's it. Where it's just like, it was really weird because, like, even, you know, like Netherlands Dance Theater came out with something in COVID, like, right away. They're like, oh, we had to cancel our show. Well, we're going to make a film. We're going to do like an online thing. And so it's just like, it's great that you guys have that in you, you know, like you have to adapt now. I remember when you were talking, because you're like, what do you use to edit? And I was like, well, if you have a Mac, you could use your iMovie. And you're like, okay. You know, but like, again, like, even that willingness, like, I don't mean to keep pointing out your age, but like, you just are older. Like a lot of people like your age, like, do just be like, whatever, like, it's whatever, like, or I'm just going to give up, or like, technology, boo. But it's just like, well, then what's going to happen to your company? Like, what's going to happen to your business? Like, really, like, the answer is just like, no, you got to really get on this technology now, or like, or what? Like, and also like what you said, like, we're all creators. So it's just like, well, don't you miss creating? Like, because this is how we're doing that now.
And a challenge shouldn't be met with resistance. A challenge should be like, oh, okay, here we come. You know, and I think a lot of that has to do with where I come from, and a lot of our participants come from. A lot of us didn't have the luxury of having money to go to ballet school, or what have you. My parents didn't have a formal education. They didn't graduate from high school. They had to work. They had to work, you know? And so for us who were able to get a higher education and go forward, uh, was a challenge. Just, you know, we're talking about funding, just getting fun, just to get to college when your mother's housekeeper, you know, father's janitor, whatever, is difficult going through school, going to college. Uh, and so I think that kind of sets us up to overcome those barriers. Yeah, it does. Because I think about, you know, they used to say this about my mother, Carmen, which was her name. Carmen could make a dollar stretch from here to next year, you know? And she could. And so I listened to that. And it wasn't how much you make, it's what you did with it that was important. And that everything doesn't have to have a price tag to it. And we are in a place of creativity and imagination. Wasn't my mom told me that was free. That was free, you know? And so I think as opposed to it being a disadvantage, I think it was an advantage for myself and a lot of the people that participate in Visionary, with Visionary. I believe it was not a hindrance at all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like the fact that you're still here 10 years
Mm-hmm.
without any funding, like
Mm-hmm.
proves that. And
Mm-hmm.
like Visionary had to move a couple times too,
Mm-hmm.
you know,
Oh
and that
yeah,
always meant like new mirrors.
new
Like,
mirror. Oh, and mirrors are expensive.
yes. And then the floor, like, and having the
Uh-huh.
floor, and then like Mickey having to like take up the floor, and like we're using that same floor. We gotta move it over
Mm-hmm.
here now.
Yeah.
You know, and I mean those things are hard, but like I mean like that's just what you have to do.
Yeah.
You know, you again, like you're still here. I still have it in
Mm-hmm.
my head. I just hear you being like, "We're gonna be here. Like
Yeah.
we're still gonna be here. Come back.
Yeah.
It's fine."
We're not going anywhere. And I always thought that moving to California was going to be temporary for me. I didn't think it was going to be permanent. I thought once we're here for a while, I'll convince Mickey that we need to move. Uh, but but after starting Visionary and after about 4 or 5 years in, I thought, no. And then 2 years ago, I said, well, now we need to find our retirement home, which meant we can't have, you know, because we're getting older, or not yet, we're not that old, but a place where we don't have to move anymore. And there's no stairs. You can come if I need a wheelchair someday. I can roll myself right into the front door. All of the bathrooms had handles in the showers and the bathtubs. See, I'm preparing. But it was. I'm staying. We're staying here. Not necessarily me at the helm. No. I plan on leaving and retiring and resting sooner than most of my contemporaries. You know, geez, she's still going.
Mm-hmm.
And that's fine. That's fine. But I have different aspirations. And so it's very important to me. That's one reason why I always enlist an assistant artistic director, which is kind of not very common in dance so much as it is with theater. But it's because somebody has to take over. The young people have to take over. And it was called Visionary for a reason. It was meant for those young people who are the visionaries to reach those visions, those goals that they set for themselves. And I really want our young people who are working, and some may have gone and will come back, I don't know, to be in charge and take over and keep that going as long as possible. So we're not going anywhere. You can give us funding. You don't have to give us funding. We don't care about
But give
that.
them funding.
Yeah.
But give them funding. Give them funding.
You know, and we do have some donors. They're small donors that are consistent because they believe in our mission, and we're very grateful to them. And we do get to and we do fundraising, that kind of stuff. But for the most part, if we have a $300 budget, you've seen this. We do Seussical,
Yeah. Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
We we do we do things with just very little money. It's not about the money necessarily. It's about the work.
Yes.
It's
You know,
about the work.
for Seussical, someone came and he was a director for one of the other children's theaters, or he used to be a director, and he came up to Ramon, Arthur, and me after, and he was like, honestly, this was like the best production of Seussical I've ever seen.
Mm-hmm.
And that was like in our studio.
Mm-hmm.
That was our studio with cardboard boxes. Like,
Mm-hmm. When I was preparing for our 10th anniversary celebration concert, it never happened. We never happened. We worked on this concert for over a year. Brought in some guest artists to set some work, and then we restaged many of the past works through the past 10 years. And then, of course, it was on a Thursday. We ended rehearsal, our last rehearsal in the studio. The Monday, we were going to go into the theater for tech dress rehearsals. And Friday, we got canceled before we got to the theater. So our 10th anniversary show was never mounted. And in fact, I still can't bring myself to erase the board, the program on the whiteboard. I haven't brought myself to erase that yet. And we enlisted all three costume designers. It was devastating, to say the least, and it's probably not ever going to be seen. The new work probably won't be seen because it's too scattered right now in rehearsal videos. One thing I did learn is that every freaking rehearsal, every piece is going to be filmed, videotaped, at every angle in the studio from now on, because we've lost some things. But and of course, our old work was already there; it was already recorded, and those things can be reset again. But this special concert celebrating our 10 years was kind of was sad. I actually mourned a couple of days and cried. Oh my goodness, what's going to happen? But we picked ourselves up, brushed ourselves off, and went on. And we're, here we are. Still, we're doing everything online, which is, which is okay. It's okay. Yeah.
Oh, see, it's already almost time. Okay, see, it's already almost time.
Oh, that went quick.
I told you. It was gonna go really quickly. Well, let's. What ending question do I want to give you? You've already answered so many different things that I wanted to ask about, anyways. What? Okay. I got it. What do you hope Visionary will look like 10 years from now? What do you hope it will look like?
I want it to continue to be a diverse body of individuals. I want them to be fiscally responsible. I want we have no debt. We're an organization with absolutely no debt. I don't allow that. No, we don't owe nobody nothing. We always make sure. So I don't, it's real. In 10 years, I would like to see a real strong leadership, a group of individuals who are taking this organization to its next level. And I can go to the theater without ever having to be at a rehearsal and see everything for the first time. That's what I want to see in 10 years, because that would mean that I was doing this organization for 20 years, and then would be the time that it needs to pass on to younger minds and bodies. That is the ultimate goal for me. I think if we're celebrating the 20th anniversary, we are going to be celebrating the 20th anniversary in 10 years, that's the time that the baton is passed, and I just serve on its board. That's my goal. That's my goal. Yeah.
That's so nice.
Yeah, and then I could travel do things that I get stuck here. We can't leave very much because we have production and
you have show after show.
Show after show after show. I mean, you were around when we were doing musicals too. We don't do those anymore, but we were doing musicals and dance concerts. So we had productions like twice or three times a month.
Yeah, because you were rotating through the three companies, the adult company, the kids dance company, and then the musical theater company.
Yeah.
And it was just
and then
rotation.
And then at that time, we were doing the studio in a traditional sense because, I came from traditional studios, both as a student and as a teacher. And so that was my idea. I thought I changed, of course. We're not a traditional studio and by any means of the word. And I'm glad, I'm happy. I want to be unique. So I don't know, Trixie. I just think that, we talked about bridges and building bridges. I don't think many bridges were built for me or people like me. I'm told often that, you're going to burn that bridge. And I look at the person and think, what bridge is there? There's no damn bridge for me to cross. We have to build our own bridges. And I think that's what we do at Visionary. And I think that we are trying to listen to our young voices. Those are the people that create change, not just in the world of the performing arts, but in the world as a whole, because they're actually thinking about their future. Unlike me, I love, you mentioned growing old. I love getting older. I love it. I wouldn't go back to being 20 something ever again. And I look forward to aging. I really do. I enjoy that. And so my future is retiring, traveling, and sitting here with my husband and my puppies. That's my future. The young people have an eye that goes far beyond where I can see. And so the focus needs to be on them so that we can make those changes and we can make art and change the world and change the way people think, and not just think about the performing arts, but think about us as people of color, of appreciating our differences, so forth and so on. Yeah.
Oh, thank you. That was really nice. You're very inspiring. Like, that's just a thing that's true. And for like younger dancers and younger creators like me, I do want to point out, like what Spencer said, we were talking about bridges, and those bridges were never made for me. And so to my other fellow like younger creators, I think when he said that to me the first time, that really made me think about like what bridges have been actually open to me, like wide open because of like my skill and talents, versus what have been closed or narrowed down because of how I look like, and then also how does that apply to the other people in our community? Like, who are these bridges for? Who are building these bridges? Who are they actually doing this to? Like, come this way. Thinking about that and being really conscious about the moves we make and who we want to support with our art and our money, and our energy, and making sure that we're a part of building the bridges that are for everyone, literally everyone, not just a certain body type or a certain color or a certain background. And we didn't even get into that. Like, honestly, I'll make this quick because I know like we've already technically gone over an hour. When Spencer says we've been diverse, we're not just diverse like in race. Like, Spencer has all different body types, has always had all different body types. Like, always. Like, we've had men, because usually like people want men who are super tall. Like, we've just had a wide range. Basically, if you could dance and you really wanted it, Spencer was like, yeah, cool, awesome. Again, like different backgrounds with that, different backgrounds, obviously sexuality, easy one for us. And then just like where you came from. Like, are you middle class? Like, where are you from? Everyone's going to have like the same opportunities. And you always pushed all of us the same way. Like, it's not like, oh, you seem smart or whatever. You're like, you're all smart, so let's go. Let's do this. So I really appreciate that. And I just wanted to point that out. Like, Visionary has always been ridiculously diverse, and I think it's a shame that you've never gotten a diversity grant. I think that is ridiculous. I know you're not mad, but I'm going to be mad for you because it's ridiculous. It really is ridiculous. So I think that's something as young people we need to be like aware of. Like, let's realize the truth of like where we are so we can help change it. And thank you, Spencer, for making basically your whole life about, you know, like actually cultivating the leaders of the future, like in earnest, you know, even when you still were angry and whatever, you were still like angry to be like, no, young people need to know this. Like, this is our fight, this is everyone's fight, you know? So like that passion was always there in earnest, that want to actually build leaders, people who know how to actually lead, people how to, teaching people how to know how to like run a show. Like I know how to run a show because of you. Like, I feel like if someone was just like, okay, make a show, I could do it. And it's fine because I had those opportunities at Visionary.
Yeah.
Like, I have full confidence in myself for those specific skills and just being like, well, what does this need? How are you going to do that? How are you going to, like, you know, deal with like rehearsals that go into the wee AM, you know, like how to actually deal with that stress and how to get things done. Like, I attribute that to you, definitely. Like, I would not have those skills and I wouldn't have my confidence in those skills if it weren't for being your artistic director with you and just being able to choreograph so much. Like, yeah, like I got so many opportunities. So thank you for that. And thank you for giving so many different people opportunities, whether they were adults at the time or like the little kids, like little Louie, like little Louie. So yeah, thank you for everything you've been doing in the community. I mean, I'm going to keep talking to you after this, obviously, but like, I wish you all like the best and I wish Visionary the best. And I really hope people like come see what you guys are all about. Like literally, like Visionary has always done really good stuff and it's only gotten better over the years because that's how that works. So, you know, like, yeah, like I wish you guys all the best. It's going to be great. I'll always work with you guys. You will always be home for me. So yeah, thank you for all of that.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Thank you for everyone here. Spencer, you're getting like love in the chat, so you're gonna have to look at that later.
Okay.
But yeah, thank you for tuning in, everyone. Spencer, I put visionarydancetheater.org. It's down there if you want to find the organization and contact them. Yeah, I mean, Spencer has a Facebook, but I don't know if you want people to go to your Facebook.
Oh, I don't mind.
Just find Spencer Powell or look at Visionary Dance Theater. You'll find him right there. He'll probably be like this in a picture.
Yeah, doing something.
Yeah, that's him. Tomorrow we're gonna have Dr. Grace June Park. She's coming to talk about hip hop appreciation versus appropriation, and what that is, especially within the Asian community. So that's our talk for tomorrow. Again, thank you. Hopefully you guys can be there. Thank you, Spencer, for being here today. Thank you for everyone who's tuning in and who will watch this later. I hope you get a kick out of Spencer because Spencer's great and he's really entertaining. I feel like you subdued yourself a little bit.
Probably, yes.
but it's all good. Again, please check out Visionary Dance Theater and support them by following them on social media, watching their videos. You can donate to them. Those are things you can do too. So thank you, and we'll see you guys later. Bye.
Bye.